Okay, so we want to make games for Dreamcast. So the first thing that we're going to do, in order for us to successfully build our environment up so that we can create projects that we can put on the Dreamcast or play on the Dreamcast emulator, the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to create a folder that's specifically committed and dedicated to all our Dreamcast tools and our Dreamcast toolchain. Okay, so let's go and open up our folder browser. We'll go to local C and we're going to create a new folder. We're going to call it DC_SDK. Okay, and in our folder, this is going to be our main folder where we set up everything related to Dreamcast development. Right? Now, there's going to be a heap load of websites that we're going to need to visit so that we can gather up the tools and the downloads that we need so that we can build up our environment to create the files needed so that we can run them on Dreamcast. This is the first website you want to visit, and you want to go to this website right here, dreamsdk.org, and here it shows right now Dream SDK R3, but if you go to download, you might want to go and download, find a way to download R4. Okay, R4 is actually on the GitHub. Okay, and this is where you get R4. So it really doesn't matter. You could download R3 or R4, whichever one you want. But you know, this is pretty much what you're going to need. R3 or R4. Both of them tend to work. But in this tutorial, I don't remember which exactly which one I'm going to use. But this is what you're going to need. Okay, so make sure you head to this site and download R3 or R4, and you go to the GitHub if you want R4. It doesn't seem that they updated the website, so you scroll down and you could download R3 right here. If you want to use R4, you go to the GitHub link and you download Dream SDK R4 right here. Okay, so you want to be in this website, get what you need. And when you download it, you want to save it in this location right here. Okay, you want to save it in your DC SDK. Okay, that folder right there is committed to our Dreamcast development. Dreamcast Software Development Kit. Okay, this is the folder that we're going to be using, and this folder is going to be strictly committed to Dreamcast homebrew development. Next website you want to go to is GitHub. You want to download Callisti OS. Okay, so you go to this link and you want to click on code, download zip, and it's going to show up right there. Go and show folder. You also want to put that inside there as well. Okay. Now, I don't need it, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete it. That's what you want to download, Callisti OS. This is the link, github.com. You're definitely going to need Callisti OS because it is indeed affiliated with Dreamcast homebrew development. Okay, so that's another website you want to go to. You want to go to msys2.org. I'm using Windows 8. So I downloaded an older version of this. If you're most likely, my viewers are most likely going to be on Windows 10 or Windows 11. If this be the case for you, you want to download the latest. Okay, this is where you go to get the latest. Download the installer, msys2 x86 2025 12.13.exe. Okay, this is the latest right here. Okay, since I'm on Windows 8, I'll be using an older version, which I already have pre-downloaded. Okay, so make sure you go to this website. You're going to need MSys2, and with MSys2, we're going to be in that terminal, and we're going to run a couple of commands that gets one of our tools built so that we can make the correct files that run inside the emulator and also on the Dreamcast hardware. Okay, the next website you want to go to is make sure you go to MSys2, download the correct version that is compatible with your operating system. Okay, because you're going to need this. Okay, we're going to need GLDC, which is a GL library, or the OpenGL library, something similar to OpenGL in relation to OpenGL for Dreamcast specifically. So you want to go to this link, this website. You want to click on code. You want to download it, download zip, and when you download it, you go ahead and drag it into this location right here. Okay, this folder right here is going to fill up with a lot of stuff, and there's going to be a lot of things inside this folder that's going to be affiliated with Dreamcast homebrew development or making games for Dreamcast. Okay, so this is another download that you want to be considerate of. Make sure you click on code, download the correct version, zip, and save it to the location I told you to save it to, which is in this folder right here. Now you can go ahead and click on download and show in folder. Go and retrieve it wherever you need to retrieve it, and put it in this folder right here. Okay, you're going to need Raylib for Dreamcast because we're going to be porting some Raylib projects to our environment, and we're going to see to it that it also runs on the Dreamcast emulator or inside of the on the Dreamcast hardware console system. If you are in the mood to burn some CDs. Okay, so this is another link you want to visit. Go ahead over here and click on code, download zip. It's going to start downloading. Make sure you go ahead and retrieve that download and put it right in here. Okay, so you also want to download Tetris Raylib for DC. So you want to download that like so. That's also another project that we're going to be porting to our Dreamcast environment or Dreamcast development. And we are going to retrieve that in our download folder. We're going to drag and drop it into our DC_SDK. You want to go to MKDC disk. This is a tool that we're going to need to build with our MSys2. And what we're going to do, we're going to hit code and we're going to download zip. Now, I'm not going to download it because I already have it. But what you need to do is, if you don't have it or if you haven't downloaded it yet, download it, go retrieve it in your download folder, and drag and drop it in here. Because you're going to need this. We're going to extract it from the archive and we're going to build it up so that we could use it the way we need to use it. Now, this is a tool that we could do without, but this is a tool that you might want to be considerate of downloading. Okay, it's called Bootmate. You don't have to download it if you don't want to, and I'm not really going to focus on making any demonstrations on how to use it. You can download it, do a little Google search on it on how to use it. And it pretty much, it's used to make CDIs for the Dreamcast. Okay, so if you want, you could use this as well. I'm not going to be using it because we're going to go about using MKDC disk. to make our formats in our files. But this is a tool that you want to be considerate of if you want to download and save it for documentation, or save it for your archives, or for Pete's sake. If you just want to download just to have it, it's a tool that was definitely used, or definitely considered to be used, for the Dreamcast homebrew development environment. Okay, so definitely check this out. Do your research on it, download it, get it installed, and experiment with it. See if you can get it to work. Okay. This is also another application. It's called Boot Dreams. This, if you do your little research on it, and you'll probably come across a YouTube video that shows you how to use this so that you can create your .l files into .bin files. Okay, so what you want to do, you want to click on Homepage here, and you want to go to Downloads, and this is where you're going to be downloading it from. Boot Dreams 106C, or Boot Dreams 106c.exe. Okay, you download one of these. You could do a Google search on it, and you can figure out where else you could download. There's other locations where you could download it from, but this is the link I'm using. As long as you know the name of it and its purpose, type it in Google search, and you will be able to locate it regardlessly. Okay, so we're on to Disk Juggler now. This is an application that you could use to burn your projects to your CD so that you could run them on the Dreamcast gaming console system, the actual Dreamcast hardware. Okay, so Disk Juggler is one software. There's not really a main website for it. It seems like this website right here is kind of shut down. It doesn't take you to any links where you could download the actual software, but if you do a Google search, you'll be able to find the actual software. It's kind of outdated. It hasn't been updated for a while. Shows back here 19 years ago was the last stable release, so that's about like 2006. I'm sure if you could find a place to download it, I'm sure it will still work on Windows 8 or Windows 10 or Windows 11, whichever software or whichever operating system you're using. But this is one of the softwares that you could use to burn Dreamcast games to CD. Okay, this is also another one. Alcohol 120% is another software that you could use to burn your Dreamcast games to CD so that you could run your games or your projects on the actual Dreamcast gaming console system. Okay, so this is another one. And the last but not least, we have IMG Burn. You definitely want to download this. I have this one installed, but I won't be using it because I don't have a Dreamcast console system inside my house right now. All I have is the emulator. But this is one of the softwares that you could use to burn Dreamcast files to CD so that you could run them on the actual Dreamcast hardware. Okay, so you got three here that you could choose from. You got Disk Juggler, you got Alcohol, and you have IMG Burn. You don't have to download all three, but if you want to, be greedy and go ahead and keep all three for your sake, then you feel free to do that. Okay, we're gonna need mruby. Now, I didn't install mruby to build up Raylib and to build up all the other examples. We could do without it, but when you install the Dream SDK and you go into the manager, it's going to ask for this, and it's going to say not installed. We can still accomplish and achieve exactly what we want to accomplish and achieve without this, but it's up to you if you want to actually install this and use it. We could do without it. We don't need it, but if you want, you can install it if you'd like. I won't be installing it, but it's up to you on whether or not you want to install it or not. Okay, you're going to need CMake. Okay, and at this website right here, cmake.org, this is the home page. You go over to download, and you need to find the version that's compatible with your operating system. Okay, so if you're on Windows 10 or Windows 11, you want to download the latest. I'm on Windows 8, So I downloaded, I think, CMake 4.2 or something like that. Okay, so that did work out for me. But this is where you're going to go to download CMake. Okay, so download the version that works for you. Get it installed. I'm going to demonstrate how to install it. And when we open up our Dream SDK Manager, we're going to actually see the install location inside the manager. Okay, so make sure you visit this website right here and download CMake, whichever version that you're going to use. Okay, we need Git. Okay, and this is the website where you're going to go to download Git. Okay, so you want to go to this website right here and you want to click on install for Windows. It's going to take you here. We're using Windows. You might be on a Mac OS or Linux. I don't know if this whole tutorial is going to work for Mac OS or Linux. I'm using it on Windows, and you want to download whichever version is going to work on your Windows. Okay, so I forgot which version I downloaded, but I'm definitely assuming it's this one, Git for Windows x64 setup. Okay, so try this out. If this doesn't work, then try ARM64. I think ARM64 has something to do with Android. So download Git regardlessly. Find out which version you're going to need. Find out which version you use, and make sure you get this installed. Where I'm definitely going to demonstrate how to go about installing it. So it doesn't matter regardlessly. I'm going to show you how. Okay, so make sure you go to this website and get this installed, get this downloaded, and of course you want to retrieve it in your download folder. Make sure you drag and drop it in here, because we're going to be downloading, we're going to be installing that. Python. Did I already do Python? No, I did CMake. Okay, CMake and Python kind of look alike. Okay, so you go to python.org, and this is where you want to go. You want to go to downloads. You go to Windows, because we're going to be running this process on a Windows application, Windows operating system. You want to go to stable release. For me, I'm using Windows 8, so my Python version is pretty old. I'm using like a 3.7. If you're on Windows 10 or Windows 11, you want to use the latest version of Python that you could find. Stable release right here shows Python 3.14. Yeah, so definitely just figure out. I'm not sure which version is going to work for your operating system, but for me, the version that worked for me was 3.7. Okay, so you download Python and figure out which version is going to work for specifically for your operating system. You're going to need Python. It's definitely going to let you know if it's installed or not when we get into our Dream SDK Manager. Okay, Mess and Build. This is a website where you get Mess and Build from. You click on Absolute Beginner's Guide, scroll down a little bit, and you're going to see MSI, Messin 0.56. You want to download the .msi file. And you scroll down to 1.10. You're going to see MSI right there. Okay, so you definitely want to get that downloaded. It's going to take a while, and once you get it downloaded, go ahead and retrieve it, and we're going to drag that also in our folder for our Dreamcast. Now, I don't need it because I already downloaded it. I'm just showing you what you need to do so that we can make sure that you have all the tools that you need inside that folder so that you could build the Dreamcast games and build Dreamcast homebrew. Okay, you're most definitely going to need an emulator. Okay, so this is a website. It shows you a list of emulators. You take your pick on which one you want to use. I'm not going to demonstrate or show you how to use an emulator. You need to download it and do your research on it and experiment with it and figure out how to get games booted up inside of it, how to get your controls set up inside of it. Okay, so these are a list of emulators. You could take your pick on whichever one you want to use. You'll find out which one I'm going to be using inside this tutorial. But this is where you can get some emulators from. If you don't want to use this website, you could do a Google search and figure out where other locations are available where you can download Dreamcast emulators. But this is a list of emulators that are known to work, and I'm definitely going to be demonstrating how to use an emulator and which one I'll be using. Okay? So now, after you visited all those websites, you should have all your prerequisites. Okay? So my prerequisites are right here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy them and paste them all in here. Okay? These are all my prerequisites. Okay, and if you look in this folder, if you've downloaded everything correctly and everything that I've told you to download, you should have Boot Dreams, you should have CMake, you should have Dream SDK. Now in my situation, I'm going to have R4. You should have Git, GLDC, Callisti OS. You should have Messen, MKDC Disk. You should have MSys2, Python, and you should have those two Raylib projects that I told you about. Raylib for Dreamcast, and you should also have Tetris for Raylib. Okay, this is what your folder should be looking like right now. Now, as we go about building this environment up, this whole folder right here is going to get pretty cluttered. It's going to get pretty cluttered. We're going to try and keep it as organized as possible. And what we're going to do to get started, we're going to go ahead and get started on installing our prerequisites and everything that we need. Okay, so we're going to install CMake first. Going to run that. Click Next. Click I accept terms. Click Next. And we want to click Add CMake shortcut to the desktop. And we want to make sure Add CMake to the path environment variable. Make sure both of these are checked. Click Next. And we just want to install to the default location. Click Next. Click Install. And we're going to let that run. And it's finished. There's our shortcut right there. We're just going to go and grab that shortcut. We're going to copy and paste it in there. We're not really going to need it. We're not going to be running it. But this is what your CMake looks like. We're not going to be spending any time at all inside this GUI. Okay, we just need CMake installed because Dream SDK and Callisti OS uses CMake. Okay, so we're definitely going to need CMake. Okay, the next thing we want to install is MSys2. Okay, so this is my version of MSys2 for Windows 8. If you download MSys2, you should download the version that is compatible with your operating system. Again, if you're on Windows 10 or 11, you need the latest. This version is compatible with 8, so this is what I'm going to be installing. I'm going to hit R for Run, and I'm going to click Next. We want this in our default location, which is C/, and it's going to be installed in the MSys64 location folder. So click Next, Install. We're going to let that run. And while that's running, we want to install Git. Okay, so I'm going to press R for Run. And I'm going to click Next. And we want this installed in our default location as well. So we will click Next. And additional icons on desktop. We could check that if we want. Use TrueType font in all console windows. Check daily for Git for Windows updates. No, we don't really need to do that. because we just want to use our version that we did download and install from the website. We don't need to check for updates. Just as long as it's installed, that's perfectly fine. So click next. Click next here. Use Vim. Click next here. Let Git decide. Click next here. Git from the command line and also from third-party software. Click next here. Use the native Windows Secure Channel Library. I'm going to click next here. Check out Windows style, commit Unix style line endings. I will click next here. Use Minty, the default terminal of MSys2. I will click next here. Fast forward or merge. I will click next here. Get Credential Manager. I will click next here. Enable file system caching. And not really sure what that does, but it tended to work without this being checked, so I'm going to click install. We're going to let that run. Okay, and we want to install Python. I'm going to press R for run. And we want to check this little box down here, add Python 3.7 to path. And we want to click install now. So we've got to get all these things installed. And we want to install Messen. So we're going to press R. We're going to click next. We're going to accept the terms in a license agreement. Click next. As you can see here, Messen and Ninja is going to be installed. Ninja is affiliated with Messen. You're definitely going to need that. I'm going to click next. Click install. Another installation is in progress. You must complete that installation before continuing this one. Okay, so we'll wait for these things to finish up. Git is done. So we'll uncheck that and we'll click finish. And Python is done, so we'll go ahead and click close. And we'll give it a retry. And there we go. Okay, so Messen installed. That was quick for Messen. Didn't take long to install that. It took about a couple of seconds. We'll click finish. MSys is installed. Okay, so we'll finish with that. Okay, so we get all these things installed right now. Okay, so we got a shortcut for git bash here. We'll put this in here. We don't really need it. Go ahead and delete that. Okay, so now that we got all of these things installed, let me check my notes right quick. I'm sorry. So we installed all those things. So we want to set up a folder now. We want to set up a couple of folders. We're going to extract GLDC. And we're going to rename that to just GLDC. Okay. We're going to extract CallistiOS. Okay, so that's done. We're going to go ahead and rename it to just CallistiOS. Okay. And in our CallistiOS, we want to go, I guess, check into examples. You go down here, you're going to see Raylib. Now, Raylib is going to need to be built, but this is where we're going to want to put our Raylib projects. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and highlight these, and then we're going to copy them. And we're just doing a little house cleaning, early house cleaning, and keeping our archives and keeping our files as organized as possible so things don't get too cluttered up. I'm going to go down to raylib, and we're going to paste these files here. We're going to extract them here. Okay, so Tetris from raylib, and you got a raylib Dreamcast right here. Okay, so we definitely want those there. And since we have those files there, we're going to go ahead and delete these because we already have them copied there. Okay, so now let's see what else we need to do. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and create a folder called Dream SDK. It's Dream_SDK. And this is where we're going to install our Dream SDK 4. Okay, so now if you downloaded it, you should have it somewhere. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and get the version that I already had. And I actually have it right here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and drag it and drop it inside the Dream SDK folder. And I'm going to extract it here. Okay, so this is Dream SDK 4, Dream SDK R4, I'm sorry. You could try to use Dream SDK R3 if you'd like. It's perfectly fine. But I'm using SDK R4. Okay, so this is everything that you're going to have after you extract the file. Okay, we need to get Dream SDK R4 installed. Okay, so we should have Callisti OS MKDC disk. Okay, so let's go ahead and extract MKDC disk right here. And you can see that didn't take long. We're going to go ahead and rename that to just MKDC disk. Okay, and we're going to put that right in there because that's where it belongs. Okay, and we will put Callisti OS in the Callisti OS folder. We'll put GLDC in the GLDC folder. Alright, so all these other icons right here are the actual things that we need to install. Okay, so let's go ahead and locate our MSys icons. And we're going to go to find our MSys archive folder. And what we're going to want the green and the blue. So that's MinGW64 and Clang ARM64. Okay, and we're going to create a shortcut for both of them. We're going to copy them and we're going to paste them in here. I'm going to go ahead and rename them MSys. So that they will be right next to each other. And hit an F5. And that's what we want it to look like pretty much. Okay, so if you run these, that's pretty much your terminal. We're going to use this terminal to build one of our tools. Okay, let's create another folder, and this folder is going to be committed to holding our ELFs and our CDIs. Okay, so we'll call this ELF underscore CDI. Okay. Again, we're trying to keep everything as organized as possible. Okay, and what else are we going to need? Oh, we're definitely going to need our emulators. Okay, so if you downloaded the emulator, you can install that pretty much anywhere you'd like, just as long as you're able to locate it. Okay, locate your emulator. In my case, I already have some emulators on my computer, so I will go and get their shortcuts. And I will get my null DC emulator. And in here, I have a flycast, and I also have a null DC. So I'm going to copy, and I'm going to paste those shortcuts also. Okay, so those two are right next to each other also. Doing the best I can to stay organized so we don't have to be jumping all over the place to get everything built up. Alright, so now, it's the next thing that we need to do. Okay, so we have our shortcuts for MSys, we have our emulator shortcuts, we did not install our Dream SDK yet. So we need to install Dream SDK. We will go and install Dream SDK, and we're going to install it right here in this path. That's the icon for it. We want to launch that. And we want to click Next. I accept the agreement. Click Next, click Next. We want to get this path right here because this is where we want to install it. Copy. We want to paste it like so. Okay, so make sure these paths are matching because we want this installed right here. Go to click Next. And already exists. Would you like to install to that folder anyway? We will click Yes. Windows prompt. Click Next, toolchain profile. I'll just leave it at 10.5. For Python, I think I'm using 3.7. That's correct, 3.7 right there. Okay, so I'm going to go down to Python 3.7, and I will click Next. 32-bit Python binary was not found on your system, which is required. Continue anyway. I will click Yes. Use online repositories, highly recommended. Make sure that's checked because if you use offline, you won't be able to download the ports. Okay, so we're going to click Next. And we don't want anything checked here. We just want pretty much a full installation without IDE integration. That's what you want it to look like. And we will click Next, Dream SDK, click Next, create a desktop shortcut, and add Dream SDK to the path, system environment variable. Make sure both of these are checked. Click Next, and click Install. A lot of things and a lot of installing of a lot of softwares that we're going to need to do in order to get this environment built and set up. It's a very, very tedious process and very time consuming if you ask me. But when it's all done, when it's all built up, hopefully we shouldn't have any problems. It's very nitpicky, this whole procedure of getting Dreamcast to work correctly in the Dreamcast dev environment. You know, getting it to work correctly and stuff. It's very nitpicky. It's not easy to develop for. Okay, so we have that shortcut there. We're going to go ahead and copy and paste that. We're going to need that in there. We'll delete that. And we will click Next. Dream SDK is almost ready. Okay, it's going to install a couple more things here. Okay, see how like we're not even halfway done, and it's already going on 40 minutes and 28 seconds. Okay, so this is going to take a while. Okay, so it's installing all this. It seems this is going to take a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this, and I will unpause it when this is done. Oh, okay, there it goes. It seems like it's hurrying up. Alright, so this might take a while. I'm going to pause it, and I will unpause it when it's done. Okay, so it shows here Callisti OS was successfully installed. I will click OK. And I will click Close. It seems like everything is installed correctly. Okay, so we're going to uncheck this, open the Getting Started guide, and we're going to click Finish down here. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to go in our Dream SDK, and you're going to see a couple of shortcuts in here. We want to make a shortcut for this. And we want to make a shortcut Dream SDK Manager and Dream SDK Shell. Okay, so those are some shortcuts that we're definitely going to want. And this one right here. Okay, so we're going to copy these. We're going to paste them in this path right here. Okay. So this is the shell. And we're going to be spending a lot of time in the shell right here. And this is pretty much just a shortcut to a path so that we can get quick access to where we need to access our samples. Okay, so in the future of this video, we will go into opt, toolchains, DC, costs, and examples, Dreamcast, and you would go down here and you would see Raylib, and you would see second mix up here and stuff. This is where you're going to go to build your files, so that you could create your projects, so you can run them inside the emulator. Okay, but we're not going there right now. Okay, so let's see. And this is the manager. Now, usually when I run this, for some reason, I've been getting an error window, but it has a tendency to still work. Let's see if I still get that error window. Okay, so this is the manager. Let's see if this error window shows up. Yep, it does show up, but it's still going to work. We shouldn't have any problems if this shows up and everything. The closed program is still going to run. Okay, so this right here is the Dream SDK Manager. You click on Environment, and you're going to see that the only thing that you don't have installed is Ruby, mruby. Okay, that's perfectly fine. GNU debugger is not installed. That's perfectly fine. Everything else is installed because everything else is what we need in order to build Raylib and to build our Dreamcast example games, so that we can run them on the emulator. Okay, so we have Git, we have CMake 4.2.1, we have Python 3.7.8, and we have Mesin 1.10. Okay. And these right here are the paths where you can find them. Okay, these paths right here will show you exactly where they are installed. Okay, so let's go over to IO Callisti OS ports. Situations like this, for what we're going to be doing, we're going to need libgl. Okay, if I can find that. There we go, right there. Okay, so we're definitely going to need that, so we could build the GLDC examples. Okay, so what we're going to do first, before we even start to make this attempt to build anything in relations to GLDC, because in order for us to build GLDC, we need libgl. Okay, but we're not going to do that yet. What we want to do, we want to go inside our Dream SDK. I'm sorry, our Callisti OS. No, I'm sorry. Let's not do that. Let's get MKDC disk built first. Okay, so in order for us to build, what we need MKDC disk for is so that we can make our .cdi files. Okay, so if you go inside here, you see assets and src. We need a folder called build.dir. Okay, and inside build.dir, you're going to see an exe file, which is in relation to the MKDC disk. Okay, it's going to be called mkdc disk.exe. You need that exe to make the .cdi files that run on the Dreamcast. Okay, so how are we going to build this? We need msys. Okay, in a situation like this, we're going to use the blue icon, which is MinGW64. So we're going to launch that open. I'm going to move this over here. And we'll go ahead and get organized a bit. Okay, so now in this terminal, we're going to be running a couple of commands that will get us set up so that we could build that MKDC disk into a .exe, because we're not going to be able to make any .cdi files without the exe. Okay, so we need that .exe file in order to build the .cdi's. Okay, and that .exe is going to be inside the build.dir folder. Okay, so we're going to go inside our MKDC disk, and the first command that we're going to run is this one right here. You copy that. I'm going to paste it in there. It's going to take a while to build, and we're going to press enter, and I'm going to press Y for yes, and it should install everything in relation to our MinGW64 toolchain. Okay, so this is going to take a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause it, and I will unpause it when it is done. Okay, so it is done. It is done. Okay, and that seemed to have taken about like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, depending on your computer or the speed of your computer, depending on your processor. If you look up here, you see you got a bunch of errors and everything, but that's okay. We could tend to ignore that. From what I've done, from what I've experienced, these errors didn't really stop anything from getting built or stop anything from working. Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to install Ninja. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to type pacman -s MinGW, see if I type this correctly, -W64 -x86 underscore, is it 64 hyphen ninja space hyphen no confirm. Okay, so this is what we should have typed in. If you want, you go ahead and copy and paste it, but that's what we're going to be executing next, and hopefully I typed it correctly, and hopefully it should work. Okay, so it seems I typed it correctly. So we're going to go ahead and wait for that. And this might take a while also. I don't remember exactly how long this one takes, but it is building. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and I will unpause it when it is done. Okay, it's done. All right. So the next thing that we want to do now, we want to check to see which version of Ninja is installed. Okay, so Ninja -- version, and it says 1.11.1 is installed. Okay, so that's good. We got Ninja installed. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we want to go to our MKDC disk path. Okay, so we're going to type cd space dash backslash c backslash dc underscore SDK backslash MKDC disk. Should take us in this path right here. Okay, so now that those yellow letters are there, we're looking in this path right here. Okay, this is the path that we're looking inside of. C DC SDK MKDC disk. Okay, so we want to be looking in this path, and what we want to run is this next. Okay, this is the command that we want to run. It's C program files messin.exe setup build dir. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and paste that in there, and what this is going to do, this is going to build a folder inside this directory called build dir, and inside that folder it's going to generate a bunch of extra files. This is the location where the exe file is going to show up. Okay, there we go with the build dir. And inside there, it generated all these files. Okay, so the next command that we need to run is this one right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy that. We're going to paste it. And what this will do is this will generate and build the files that's needed so that it will generate the .exe. Okay, and as you can see right there, there goes the MKDC disk, and this is the exe that we're going to need to make our CDI files. Okay, it says right there that's an exe file, and it also shows right here that the exe does exist. Okay, you type ls, it shows the exe file is there. You want to type dir, it also shows that the exe is there. Okay, so this is very important. If you don't do this, then you cannot make the CDI files. Okay, so now that we've built the MKDC disk exe, we're not going to need this anymore. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to change terminals up. Okay, if you want, you can continue to use this terminal. This one does work. It can work. I've tried it before, but I'm going to be using the Dream SDK shell because it seems like that one, the Dream SDK manager and our environment seems to like that one more because it's more affiliated with the Dream SDK manager and Dream SDK itself. Okay, so we're done here. I'm going to go ahead and close that up. So we have our exe so that we could build our CDI files. Okay, what we want to do, let's go ahead and check to see, now that we have Dream SDK manager installed and everything, let's go ahead and clean up, organize things a little bit more. Let's go ahead and copy this, and we'll put this inside of our ELF CDI, because this is where we're going to keep all our ELF files and our CDI files. Okay, so you want to definitely double check to make sure that your emulators work. Okay, that's Flycast, and that's null DC. Okay, so let's go to Callisti OS. And let's see if we could get a make to work. Okay, we'll go into examples, Dreamcast. We'll go to second mix. And oops, let's go ahead and launch. We'll definitely need one of our terminals open. Okay, so we'll go and launch the Dream SDK shell. And we want to go and locate an example that we can test to see if we can actually get one built. Okay, so we'll go into Callisti OS, examples, Dreamcast, second mix, and this is our make file right here. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to go and grab this path. We want to copy it. Okay, so now that we're in the shell, we want to CD our way into this path. CD space, CD space, and we want to paste that path, and we want to clean it up a bit. So we'll go \C. We'll change all these slashes to the opposite slash. Okay, so now we're looking into this path right here. Oh, we want to see if we could get a make going on. So we'll type make. And what this should do is generate an ELF file for us. Shouldn't have any problems. Okay, it does work. Okay, so there's our second mix ELF. Okay, so this is the file that we're going to need in order to run our file, in order to run on the actual Dreamcast emulator or the Dreamcast hardware. Okay, now I'm sorry, ELF is not going to run on the hardware. ELF will run in the emulator. Okay, but if you want to run, you want the file to run on the hardware, you're going to need CDI. Okay, so now that we've generated the ELF, what we need to do is we need to locate our path for our MKDC disk EXE. Okay, and that being said, that path is actually located here. Okay, builder, and that's our EXE right there. Okay, so this is the path right there. Builder, CDC SDK MKDC disk builder. And then right there you're going to have the mkdcdisk.exe. Okay, so in situations like this, we're going to need this command right here. Copy, and we're going to paste it in this terminal right here. Okay, because we're looking in this path right here. Examples, Dreamcast, and second mix. Okay, so we're looking in this path right here. Okay, but in order for us to execute the mkdcdisk.exe, we need that command, this command right here. So we're going to copy that, we're going to paste it in here. It's not working. Hold on, give me a minute. Okay, so I might have to just type it manually. Okay, so let's try and type it manually. \C \DC underscore SDK \mkdc disk backslash build dir backslash mkdc disk dot exe, okay, hyphen e, and this is going to be called second mix dot elf, and we want the output going to second mix dot cdi, okay, hyphen in for the name, space, and it's going to be called dc underscore game. Okay, so now in this case, what we're going to do for a DC game, what this does is the name. This is going to be the name of the CD-ROM. Okay, so let's say, for example, the name of the game is Sonic Adventure. You would just change DC game to Sonic Adventure. Okay, but that's not the fact of the matter for us. Okay, it's called Second Elf, so maybe we could just change it to Second Mix. Okay, let's see if this works now. Okay, so it should work, and it does look like it's working. Okay, so it's going to convert that ELF file to a CDI. Okay, and there we have it. We have the CDI file there. Okay, so that lets you know that the exe is working. Okay, so we have a CDI file and an ELF file. Okay, so we're going to copy these. We'll put them in the ELF and the CDI folder, and we're going to give it a test. Okay, so we're going to test ELF on the emulator and the flycast, and it works. Okay, so let's test the CDI also. Okay, because you're going to need CDI. If CDI is what gets burned to the actual CD, okay, you need to burn it to the CD in order for it to run on the Dreamcast, of course, because Dreamcast is not going to run ELF files. Okay, Dreamcast is not going to run the ELF file. You burn the CDI to the disk, and the disk is what goes, of course, inside the Dreamcast hardware gaming console system. Okay, so let's check to see if the CDI works now. Definitely should be the same thing. And there you go. It is working. Okay, so for some reason, I don't know why the text wasn't working right here. Shouldn't have a problem. Let me go ahead and retry it and see if it works. See, it's not working. Give me a minute, let me see. Okay, that's why. Because of the word wrap was kind of messed up. Okay, so that's why. There you go. Okay, so now it works. Second mix. Second mix. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to head on back to that location. We'll go back to Callisti, examples, Dreamcast, second mix. And we'll run it. Let's go ahead and delete the second mix. And it's going to generate another one. It's going to generate it right in there. Okay, there you go. It has it right there, the CDI. And it's done. It's not done, but when you see the colorful letters, it lets you know it's done. All right? Taking a while, but Okay, there we go. Okay, so now let's check to see if we can make clean will work. Make clean. And this command is going to clean it all out. Okay, and there you go. It cleaned it out. And make. We'll generate the L file again. Okay, and there you go. Okay, so make, clean, and make works. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, so that's working correctly. Okay, so let's go ahead and check to see what other examples we can get built. I'm not going to go through all of them because there's a lot of examples to go through. And right now we're going on 1 hour and 6 minutes inside this tutorial. But we definitely want to check to make sure that we can build the other examples. Okay, so let me go ahead and locate these other examples that I had actually built. Okay, so assert HND elf. Okay, so this is definitely one. Okay, so we're going to go CD, we're going to space, and we're going to go ahead and clean this one up because we want to build this one. Because this is a sample that I actually like. C, we're going to clean up all of these backslashes right here. And we're going to make this one as well. Okay, so there's the elf for this one. All right, so let's go ahead and convert this to a CDI. Okay, so you can see that there's the elf right there. Okay, and this is called assert HND. Okay, it didn't work. Let's try it again. And it should work. Shouldn't have a problem with it. Okay, there it goes. Okay, I don't know why it didn't work the first time. Okay, so that's generating a CDI file. And there we go. We have the CDI and the elf. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put those in there and check to see what it looks like. Okay, it doesn't seem like it's doing anything, okay? Give me a minute. Okay, so it's just a black screen. Okay, that's exactly what it is. It's just a black screen. Doesn't seem to do anything. Okay, so we're going to go ahead on to a different example now. What is the next example? FPU EXC was a good one that I kind of liked. Okay, so we'll go ahead and find that one. Okay, so we know that we can build for we could build these examples for our Dreamcast emulator. Okay, so what we want to do, we want to make sure that we can build Raylib now. Okay, so in order for us to build Raylib examples, we're going to need libgl, and we definitely also want to make sure that we can get GLDC built up, these examples right here. Okay, so if we go into a GLDC example and we go into samples, you're going to see these examples right here, Nihi, ROM disk, and you see the main, but you don't see that there is a a make file, which is what you're going to need to actually make those examples. Okay, so what we need to do, mkdc build, okay, we don't need that anymore. Hold on, let me get my notes. So what we need to do, we need to locate those files, and this is where they're located. Okay, so we go into Dream SDK, we go into MSys 1.0, we go down to opt, toolchains, DC, COS, examples, Dreamcast. Okay, now we already built this example right here. You can see the files are not there because this is a different or alternative location, but GLDC is where you want to actually these are some examples that you actually want to try and get built up. Okay, Nihi05, these are where the make files are located. Okay, so let's see if we can actually get this one built. Okay, so we're going to CD into this path right here. We're going to paste it like so. We're going to clean up a bit. We're going to do -C, and we're going to change this dash right here. We're just going to change all the dashes. Okay, so now we're looking into that path. Let's see if we can get this made. Okay, so we're going to type make, we'll press enter, and it's not working. And it's specifically not working because we need to install the ports. Okay, and you find these ports right here in the Dream SDK Manager. Click on this tab, Callisti OS ports, and we're going to need libgl for this situation right here. Okay, so in order to get this installed, we're going to need to do a mass operation. We're going to need to click that button right there, and this is going to take a long time. This is probably going to take about 20 or 30 minutes at most. So what we're going to do in order to get these Nihi examples built and these GLDC examples built, we need libgl ports installed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click the install button for mass operation and prepare to wait for about like 20 to 30 minutes for this to get installed, so that we can actually get rid of this error right here, and we can get these pretty cool examples built. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do mass operation install. We're going to click. It's going to ask us that question: are you sure to install all Callisti OS ports at once? We will click yes, and this window is going to come up. You're going to be sitting here waiting for a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and I will unpause it when it is done. I'm going to uncheck this, and we're going to pause now, and I'll unpause it when it's done. Okay, and we're done. So now we got this window here saying the request to install all Callisti ports is complete, yada yada yada. Okay, so we'll go ahead and click OK for this. The application wasn't able to start correctly. Click OK. Hopefully we don't have any problems. We'll close the program. Okay. And this is everything that we went through in order to get this stuff installed, okay? All that stuff right there, okay? So we're going to go ahead and close this. You look in this window right here, you'll see these little black squares that let you know that that port is installed, okay? So what we're definitely going to need for the Nihi examples, which is what we have right here where we got this error, we need libgl for the Nihi examples, okay? And raylib is in here somewhere, okay? So there's raylib for DC, okay? So if you don't have raylib for DC, we're not going to be able to port our raylib projects or port raylib for DC to the Dreamcast, okay? We're definitely going to need those two, libgl and raylib for DC, okay? So that's pretty much it for that. We'll go ahead and try to see if we can build a Nihi example now. We'll go and check in our environments and check to see if everything's still good. It looks like everything is still good except for Ruby, because again we didn't install that. You can install it if you want, like I mentioned before, okay? And GNU debugger is not installed, okay, which is perfectly fine, okay? So we're going to go ahead and give another attempt to build the Nihi 5. So we'll go in here, go to Nihi 5, and it looks like we're already looking in that path, and it should work. Okay, and it does work. We do have an ELF file for that now. Okay, and let's see if we can convert that into a CDI. Okay, so we're going to go all the way over here, Nihi 05 for that, because we want the ELF to be converted, or we want the output of the ELF to be converted to a CDI. Okay, so we're going to go and type here Nihi 05.cdi. Okay, we press enter, we should get our CDI file in here right above our ELF. Okay, so let's go ahead and hopefully that'll work. Looks like it's working right now, and it should show up here. There we go. Okay, so we got an ELF, we got a CDI file right there. Okay, so let's go ahead and highlight those two. And we're going to paste them inside this path, and we're going to run them on our emulator. Okay, and that's our Nihi 5. Okay, let's run the ELF. Make sure the ELF gives you the same output. I'm sorry, that was the wrong one. Nihi 5 ELF. There it goes. It works just fine. Okay. So let's go ahead and do let's try them on a different emulator. Let's try them on an emulator, the null DC emulator. We're going to go to File. We'll do a normal boot. We're going to locate our path where we have our files at. Okay, and this one seems to only run the CDIs. Okay, so we'll do Nihi 05 right here. And doesn't seem like that's working on the null DC. But let's see, Marvel vs. Capcom works on null DC. Let's check. Let's try Marvel vs. Capcom. You know, Marvel vs. Capcom definitely works. Okay, so it's not working. The controllers are not working right now, but that is Marvel vs. Capcom, and it is working. Okay, so I'm not going to go and sit here and try and mess around with this, but it is working. We can build our Nihi examples and our GLDC examples. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on to our Raylib now. Okay, and in the end, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the examples, as many examples as I favor, and we'll go ahead and get the best looking ones built up. Okay, so let's do Raylib now. Callisti OS. And again, we shouldn't have any problems running Raylib or porting Raylib projects to Dreamcast, because we do have the Raylib ports installed, which is right here, Raylib for DC. Okay, so we're going to locate our examples for Raylib, and again, that's going to be in Callisti OS, examples, Dreamcast. We'll go down to Raylib, and you're going to see our examples in here. Okay, so Raylib for Dreamcast main, and we'll go inside our samples folder, models, cubic map. I'm going to copy and paste this path. We're going to go on a terminal CD our way into that, and we're going to clean it up. -C. We're going to clean up these dashes right here. Okay, so now we're looking into that path, and we have our make file here. So what we're going to do, we're going to type make, and we're going to see if we can build an elf with it. Looks like it's working. Okay, and there's our elf. Okay, so let's see if we could get a CDI for it also. And this is called cubicmap.elf. Cubic map, and we want to make the output for CDI cubic map.cdi. Okay, so we'll go ahead and delete this, called cubic map.cdi. Okay, we'll press enter and see if we can get a CDI generated with this. Looks like it's working, and it says it's done. Okay, so let's go ahead. We have our CDI and our elf file there now. We're going to go ahead and copy it and paste it. In our elf CDI. Okay, let's try the elf first, and there we go. That's the Raylib example. If you actually go to the actual Raylib website, we'll go ahead and take a visit there. Go to examples, and you'll actually see this example in the examples archive, in the examples section. Okay, I don't know exactly where it is. Let me see if I can find it for you guys. Models, should be in models. There we go. Okay, so this is what we actually ported to the Dreamcast. Okay, that example right there. Okay, so if you want to, if you want to, you know, mess around with your little curiosity a little bit more, you could go ahead and try these other examples, but you're probably going to need to tweak the make files a little bit. But that's what we could do with the Raylib examples. Okay, so let's go ahead and close this out. As a matter of fact, go back to the examples, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this cube one right here later on. Okay, so that lets you know that we can actually do the Raylib. Okay, let's go ahead and convert another one. We'll go back into Callisti OS, examples, Dreamcast. We'll go down to Raylib. and we'll do Tetris. I think Tetris was one. Okay, so this already has an elf. Let's go ahead and convert this to a CDI. We'll go ahead and change directories, and we'll go ahead and clean that path up. Okay, and now we're looking into that folder or that directory. We want to see the elf is already made because this is how we downloaded it. We downloaded it and it came as an elf. Okay, so we don't want to, from my previous experience, we don't want to delete this and try to build it again as an elf because from my experience it gave us a couple of problems. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to use this elf and I'm going to convert it to a CDI. Okay, and this is the Tetris Raylib for DC elf. Okay, so just let me go ahead and copy that, paste that. Tetris Raylib for DC elf. Tetris Raylib for DC. Okay, so everything looks, spelled it wrong. Not Tetris, it's Tetris. Okay, so let's see if we get a CDI image with this. And it looks like it's working. Okay, we have our CDI in our elf file, so we'll go ahead and copy that. And we'll paste it right here in our path. And we'll see what we get. Tetris for DC, we'll test the elf. Okay, and you can see it closes and stuff. I've been having technical difficulties running this one because it just kind of opens and closes, and it doesn't stay open for some reason. So it's okay. So if you want, you can keep on messing around with it and experimenting. Okay, there it goes. It kind of stays open now. Okay, perfect. Okay, it's just for some reason the music is not playing. Okay, so that seems to work. It's just music is not playing, that's all. See, it was giving me problems before, but it's working now. Okay, and we're getting input. Let's run it on the emulator, the null DC emulator, and see if it can play. Do a normal boot, and this one seems to only take the CDI files. Okay, so we'll run this one and see if we get the same results. Okay, it's looking like it's working, but the colors are different. Okay, so I don't really have my controls set up. Oh, okay, there it goes. The color's kind of changing a bit, but it's kind of looking different on null DC. But it is working. Okay, so that lets you know. That's why it's good to test on multiple emulators, because you never know when you'll get different results on a different emulator. You see what I'm saying? So it's good to test on multiple emulators. Make sure you download at least 2 or 3 emulators, and use 3 different shortcuts to 3 different emulators to see if you get the same results, because you never know, one emulator might run your game or run your projects better than another emulator. Okay, it's always best to test on more than one emulator. Okay, and you can have as many emulators or use as many emulators as you want. Okay. Okay, so that's what we got for the Raylib. Okay, so let's go and see if we can get another Raylib built. Okay, so we'll go back into Callisti OS. We'll go into examples, Dreamcast. We'll go down to Raylib, and we did ray trace. Did we do ray trace? And we did Tetris Raylib. Okay, so we did this one, and we did this one. We did models, cubic map. Okay, so let's try shapes, basic shapes. CD. Okay, so, but I mean, you got the idea pretty much. Okay, so if you built the ports for Raylib, you built the ports for GLDC, you could build Nihi, and you could build the GLDC examples, and you could also build the Raylib examples. Okay, but I'm just going to go ahead and demonstrate what these examples are looking like. And we should definitely be able to get all these examples built for Raylib and for Nihi and for GLDC. Okay, so we're looking in this path now. We're going to do a make, and we should get an elf in this path right here. We do, and we're going to go ahead and make a CDI with this one as well. Okay, so this is basic. This is basic.elf, and we're going to convert this into a basic.cdi. Okay, and it should give us a CDI. Once we get the CDI, we'll go ahead and copy and paste it into the path. Okay, so there we go with that. And we'll go ahead and copy and paste them in here to see what it looks like. Okay, so this is basic elf. Okay, and that's what it looks like. Okay, it doesn't look like it's taking any input. Okay, and the basic CDI should also work the same. Okay, and it does. Okay, so let's try out the null DC emulator, see if we get a bunch of different colors. And that was basic. And it doesn't seem to work on the null DC, okay, but it does work on FlyCast. Okay, so see, this is exactly why you need more than one emulator. Okay, because it's not working on null DC, but it works on FlyCast. Okay, so let's go ahead and there's one thing I do want to try. Examples, Dreamcast. We'll go down to Raylib, and ROM disk. Is this the one that we want to do? I want to try the samples and the models. Okay, so we did cubic map. Okay, so I'm going to copy this one, and we'll call this one cube. Okay, we're going to go in this, and I do remember I tried out this one. It was either this one or this one. I forget which one it was. I think it was this one. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and experiment with this right quick. Okay, so this is the cube. I'm going to open this in Genie. We're going to change the source code for it. And we're going to Control S and save it. And we should be able to build this one also. Let's go and look into this one. We're going to CD our way into this path. We're going to clean up a bit. Okay, so now we're looking into that. Let's see if we can get it made. Make. Okay, let's try make clean. And make again. Get rid of the elf and let's clean it up and make it again. Okay. And let's do a CDI for this one as well. Okay, cubic map. No, let's change this to cube actually. Okay, so we'll change this to cube. Make clean. Making a lot of mistakes here. Okay, so we'll make it clean. And let's see if we can make. It did stop. Okay, so let's go ahead and make an adjustment on the make file. Okay, we need to change this up because since we changed the name of the source file, we changed the name of the C file to cube, so we need to make sure that that name matches. Cube. Cube. And it should work, huh? Should work. Alright, so let's go ahead and make clean and make. Okay, we should get an elf. Okay, so there, boom, we got an elf. Alright, so let's convert this into a CDI also. Cube.elf will be converted to cube.cdi. Okay, so we'll press enter and it should generate a CDI for us. Okay, and there you go. So we got the CDI and the elf. Let's copy and paste that, and let's drag and copy and paste that into our elf CDI location. And let's see if it works. Okay, there we go. It does work. Okay, that was this example right here. It's not showing for some reason. Okay, there we go. Okay. Okay, so that's the fly cube. That's the flycast cube. Okay, so that's pretty much how you port your Raylit projects to your Dreamcast or your Dreamcast emulator. Okay, so let's check to see if it'll work in the null DC. We're not having so much luck or so many good times with this null DC emulator right here. Okay, so let's go and get the cube. I'm not expecting it to work. Yeah, it's not working on ODC. Okay, but the retail games do work on null DC, but for some reason when we build our games with Dream SDK, they're not working on null DC. Okay, so our best bet is to use Flycast. Okay, or maybe you could get it to work. Maybe there's some type of settings that you need to do in here in regards to the graphics or something, but it's not working for me. If you mess around with it, maybe it might work for you, but I don't know. But it's working on Flycast, so I'm just going to stick to Flycast. Okay, so now we can port to Raylib, which is a good thing. Okay, so let's see which other examples we have left remaining. Okay, so but that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all you need to do to get your things working, to build up your environment. Okay, the environment is pretty much built. The environment is built. If you could port Raylib, you can port the GLDC projects, which is Nihi05, Nihi08, and if you could build the second mix, and you can convert them to .cdi, your environment is pretty much built, and from that point on, you'll pretty much just need to do a bunch of trial and error to get more complicated projects to be built and converted into .elf files or .cdi files. Okay, so we're going to go ahead with Raytrace, and we're going to see if we can get this one built. Okay, so from this point on out, or for the rest of this video, all I'm going to do is just build the rest of the projects, the projects that I didn't build, just demonstrate. But other than that, this tutorial is pretty much done. It's pretty much complete, and everything that I've demonstrated, everything that you need to know. I mean, like as far as the steak and potatoes of this tutorial is already done. It's already been demonstrated, and that's pretty much how you go about building your environment up so that you can indulge in homebrew and game development for the Dreamcast game system. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and continue to build a couple of better looking examples, and that's pretty much it. But you could stop the tutorial, you could stop watching the tutorial here if you want. If you followed up to this point and you can actually build CDI files and .elf files, then you're pretty much done. Your environment is pretty much set up. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and continue to build the rest of the examples, the better looking examples, to show you what these examples do look like. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and CD into this path, and we're going to go ahead and clean up this right here. Going to do a \C, change these slashes up. And we're going to do a make in this one. This one seems to be taking a while. And as I mentioned before, the tutorial is pretty much done. The environment is built. Oh, there we go. It's finishing up. The environment is built. So from this point on out, all I'm doing is just building up examples so that you can see the examples. But you can pretty much stop the tutorial at this point right now. Okay, so we have our L file there. We're going to go ahead and build it into a CDI file as well. Raytrace.elf. Okay, and we're going to build this into a CDI. Okay, so CDI and elf, we're going to copy that. Okay, and there's the Raytrace elf. Go ahead and test it in Flycast to see what we get. It's black screen, it's not even working. Okay, yeah, it doesn't work. It's definitely not going to work in null DC. Yep, just a black screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and try and get the other examples built. Again, GLDC, samples, Mihi 20. Okay, there's no make file in there. Okay, so we're going to go to examples, Dreamcast, R, Raylib, samples, and we're going to do shapes. I think we already did basic. Yeah, we did basic. Okay, so let's try collision area. Closing that out, CD into this path, and we're going to clean it up like so. We can change these backslashes. Okay, so we're looking into that path. We're going to make an elf. Should get it. There it is. This is collision. Okay, so we're going to change the name of that. Okay, so there's a CDI and elf. And there's a collision. It's collision for Raylib. Okay, I'm not going to try it on null DC. If you'd like, of course, like I mentioned before, I recommend you download more than one emulator. Try at least like 2 or 3 different emulators, and just make sure you use more than one. Okay, we're going to go back to Raylib. Samples, shapes, and logo Raylib anim. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and build this one up. CD space. We're going to clean this up like so. We're going to make an elf. We should get it, and we do. And we're going to convert that into a CDI also. Okay, so this is called logo. And we're going to call this one logo.cdi. And it should give us a CDI. There we go. I'm going to copy and paste those. And there you go. So logo elf. Okay. Let's try the CDI to make sure the CDI works. And press A. A replays it. Let's try it on null DC. It's probably not going to work. Okay, it's not working. Okay, works on Flycast though. Okay, ListOS, examples, Dreamcast. Go down to Raylib. Okay, it seems we did all the examples for the Raylib for Dreamcast. Okay, we did logo. Did ray trace. We did Tetris. Tetris for Raylib for DC. Okay, so do these no, we did not. Yeah, okay, so let's see if we can get these built up. These are GLDC. And it says that this is what it looks like. Okay, so let's go and see if we can get this one built up. We'll do a make. It does build. Okay. This is a 2D text quad.elf. 2D underscore text quad. .2D underscore text underscore quad. Okay, it should give us a CDI. Okay, so we got the CDI to elf. There we go. Okay, so that's that for that one. 2D text quad. Okay, so we got our ELF there. We're going to convert this into a CDI also. Okay, this is a GL test. Okay, CDI is right there. CDI and ELF are highlighted. We'll copy it. Okay, and that's our GL test right there. That's what it looks like. Okay. Let's go and build the next one. Examples. Go to GLDC. Did GL test right there. Okay, so let's do VQ. Seems like that's the texture right there. We'll go ahead and CD our way into this path right here. And we'll go ahead and clean it up. And we will make. Okay, makes our ELF. We have our ELF file in there. So we're going to go ahead and make that a CDI as well. And this is called vqexample.elf. Okay, VQ example, VQ example. Generating data track. Okay, seems to be generating. Okay, there we go with our CDI. Now let's see what it looks like. Okay, awesome. Okay. So basic VQ. Okay, let's try the benchmarks. Do the benchmarks work? Okay. Quad mark ELF. Quad mark CDI. Okay, there we go. Let's see what it looks like. Okay, that's nothing. It's pretty ugly, but it is an example. Okay, so let's go and build the other one up. This is GLDC benchmarks. Let's try mark. And we're going to made it into an elf. And we're going to convert this one to trymark.elf. I mean trymark.cdi. Very good. Okay, and that's nothing much. Okay, so we'll go on to the next example. See what this one looks like. This is what is this? Trip mark. Trip mark. Looks the same. GLDC. Okay, so now it's going to get interesting. These Nihi ones are pretty interesting. Make. Okay, so we have an elf there. Nihi02. Okay, it's not working. Nihi02 is not working. Let's try the elf. Okay. The elf works, but the CDI does not work. Okay, so but that's what the Nihi02 looks like. See, sometimes when you run the CDI executable, the it might sometimes the CDI comes out not working, so you might have to rebuild it, build it like 2 or 3 times in order for it to work. I'm not going to retry it. That's what Nihi2 Elf looks like. Okay, so I'm not going to mess around with the CDI because the CDI didn't work. Okay, the make file was not in there. Okay, so examples. Nihi 05. I think we did that already. No, we did. Did we or did we not? Okay, so that's the ELF for that. This is Nihi 05. Okay, we did do 05 already. Yeah, we did that one already. Sorry for being repetitive, but as I mentioned before, all I'm doing from this point on out is building the examples. Okay, so you can stop the video here. You don't have to watch it. You can go and build the examples yourself. Your environment is pretty much built up and complete so that you can generate files that you can run on the Dreamcast emulator or the Dreamcast gaming console if you want to, if you burn these files, the CDI files, to CD at least. But your environment is pretty much set up. I'm just going about generating the examples and showing the examples. You don't have to watch it if you don't want to. Nihi 6. Okay, let's make file in here. Let's go. Okay, so that's Nihi 6. That's a cube. Okay, and the CDI is not working. Let's try it again. Okay, so that's the CDI. Okay, now it works. Okay, see, sometimes, like I said before, sometimes the CDI comes out not working. You'll probably have to build it a second time to get it to work. Okay, but it is working now. Let's test the ELF. The ELF works also. Let's give null DC a shot. Nihi06. It's probably not going to work. No, it doesn't work. It just goes to a gray screen every time. Okay. List OS, examples, Dreamcast. We'll go to GLDC. Nihi. Did we do 8? No, we didn't do 8. Nihi 08. Okay, so Nihi 08. Let's try a CDI file. Okay, CDI file is not working. Okay, but the ELF file works, okay? So that's what the Nihi 08 ELF file looks like. Okay? But the CDI file for Nihi 08 is not working, so I might just need to go and just try and rebuild it again. I'm not going to do it. Just want to hurry up and get through this. Nihi 01, Nihi 09. Okay, and that's a CDI now. Let's try the CDI first. Okay, see, for some reason the CDIs come out not working. Okay, so that's what Nihi 09 looks like. Okay, so I'm going to delete 09. I'm going to delete 08 because 08 is not working. And we'll just go into Nihi 010. Okay, Nihi 016. CD space. I'm going to do a make. Okay, that's the elf. Nihi 16. And the CDI is probably not going to work for this one, but let's go ahead and try it anyway. Yep, doesn't work. Okay, so Nihi 16. The elf is probably going to work. The elf does work. Okay, so 16 CDI for 16 is not working. I'm going to stop doing the CDIs and I'm just going to do the elves just to show what the elves actually look like. If you want, of course, if you've gotten this far and you've actually gotten your CDIs to work, you probably have to build it once or twice with the CDI tool in order to get it to work. But I'm not going to build the CDIs anymore. Okay. Okay, so there's the L file for that. Okay, so let's see what it looks like. It's Nihi 26. Okay, so we got like what looks like particles there in that one. You can mess around with the little input and joystick and twists and twirls around and stuff. Okay, it's pretty cool. Okay, so Nihi 26. Okay, we did that one. Okay, so that's pretty much the examples for Nihi. Let's see what we can get out of the original examples, which are second mix. Okay, we saw second mix already. Did second mix, and we did. I think we did basic. Okay, we did assert, breaking. Okay, so I'm not, you know what, as a matter of fact, the environment is built. If you want to go ahead and continue to try and build all these examples, you know, you can continue to do that, but I'm not going to go ahead and demonstrate how to build all these things, because all you got to do is pretty much CD your way into the path and type make. You go inside of every single one of these folders right here, and it has a make file. Okay, so as long as it has a make file, you CD your way into this path, as I've been demonstrating, and you pretty much just type make once you're looking into that path, and it will generate the file for you. You can test out the file yourself. That pretty much is going to wrap it up for this tutorial. Okay, this tutorial is this video is going on about 2 hours and 22 minutes, 2 hours and 22 seconds, 2 hours and 22 minutes. I'm sorry. So I'm not going to go and build all these samples because it's just going to be a bit too time consuming. But as I mentioned before, just you know, the environment is built up, and you did not have to watch all the way up to the end. You could have pretty much just stopped the video at the once I've demonstrated that Nihei was able to be built and Raylib was able to be built, and you, like I said before, just go ahead and go through all these examples and samples and CD into the path and type make, or make clean and make, and you should definitely, as long as these have a make file in it, you'll be able to generate an L file and a CDI file for these examples. Okay, so the environment is built up, and if you made it this far with building the building your L files and your CDI files, congratulations, you are now officially able to create homebrew games for the Sega Dreamcast. Okay, and with that, I'm going to end this tutorial off. Thanks for watching, and good luck, and I wish you the best in your game dev endeavors for homebrew for a Dreamcast.